Breaking news: basketball fans. Luka Doncic, the face of Slovenian basketball and one of the brightest stars in the NBA, has been hit with an injury update that is sending shockwaves across the sports world. Right now, every fan, every analyst, and every teammate is asking the same urgent question: just how serious is it? What does this mean for Slovenia's international campaign? And most importantly, how will this affect the Dallas Mavericks' upcoming season? Luka Doncic isn't just another player, he's the centerpiece, the game changer, the kind of superstar whose presence or absence can redefine an entire team's destiny. And today, we're diving deep into everything you need to know about this injury update: the latest reports, the reactions from fans and teammates, the medical breakdowns of what's really happening, and what comes next for both Slovenia and the Mavericks. So stay with us, because over the next few minutes, we're going to unpack all the critical details of this breaking Luka Doncic injury news and explain why this story is bigger than just one player missing games. Now let's start with the timeline of events that led to this injury update. Luka Doncic has been carrying a heavy workload, both in the NBA and internationally. Every time he suits up for Slovenia, he's playing with intensity, and while fans love his commitment, the reality is that this kind of year-round basketball comes with serious risks. Reports began surfacing that Luka was dealing with discomfort during Slovenia's recent matchups, but initially it looked minor, something he could play through. However, insiders quickly confirmed that the situation was more concerning than first thought, and the medical team needed to take a closer look. What followed was an anxious waiting game, fans refreshing their feeds, reporters chasing updates, and teammates quietly worrying about whether their leader would be able to keep going. And finally, today, we have confirmation: Luka Doncic's injury is real, and it's forcing everyone to take a step back and ask what happens next. The specific details of the injury are still being analyzed, but from what has been shared, it appears to be a lower body issue, something that has been nagging Luka for weeks. This isn't just about one game or one tournament, it's about long-term durability. At 26 years old, Luka has already logged more minutes than many players his age because he's been playing professionally since he was a teenager. His body has endured non-stop seasons between Real Madrid, Slovenia, and the Mavericks. Doctors and trainers have pointed out that repeated stress on the same areas can lead to lingering injuries, and that's exactly the situation Luka may be facing now. If this turns into a recurring issue, it could impact not only Slovenia's chances on the international stage but also the Mavericks' ability to contend in the brutally competitive Western Conference. But before fans panic, it's important to put things into perspective. Luka Doncic has shown time and again that he has an almost superhuman ability to bounce back. Remember last season when he was battling ankle soreness and still dropping 40-point triple-doubles? Or when he tweaked his leg in a playoff series and returned to dominate just days later? The man's resilience is legendary. Still, the concern this time is different. Unlike short-term pain that Luka can play through, this injury update suggests the possibility of something that requires real rest, careful treatment, and maybe even changes to how Luka approaches his conditioning moving forward. And this is where the big debate starts: should Luka keep playing for Slovenia, or should he step back and prioritize his NBA career? This debate has split fans right down the middle. On one hand, Luka's passion for representing Slovenia is undeniable. Every summer, while other NBA stars sit out, Luka proudly puts on the national jersey and gives everything he has for his country. That kind of loyalty is rare, and it's why Slovenians worship him as more than just a player; he's a hero. On the other hand, Mavericks fans, and even some NBA analysts, are saying enough is enough. They argue that Luka's health should come first, because without him at full strength, Dallas has no chance of contending for a title. The Mavericks have built their entire system around Luka, from roster moves to offensive schemes, and one serious injury could derail not just a season but potentially several years of progress. And it's not just fans debating this. Coaches, executives, and even Luka himself are facing tough choices. Slovenia's coaching staff has already hinted that they may need to reduce Luka's minutes in upcoming games. The Mavericks front office is reportedly monitoring the situation very closely, with medical personnel in constant contact with Slovenia's trainers. Imagine being in Luka's shoes right now, torn between the country you love and the NBA franchise that defines your professional career. It's a brutal choice, and it highlights just how complicated this injury update really is. Now, let's talk about the ripple effects of Luka's injury. For Slovenia, the impact is massive. Without Luka at full strength, their chances of advancing deep in international tournaments take a huge hit. Luka isn't just their best player, he's their system. He controls the ball, dictates the tempo, and creates opportunities for everyone else. Without him, Slovenia goes from a contender to an underdog. For the Mavericks, the consequences are just as serious. If Luka enters the season less than 100%, Dallas could struggle in a loaded Western Conference where every game matters. They've made moves to build around him, but without their superstar firing on all cylinders, the ceiling of this team drops dramatically. This injury update has forced both Slovenia and Dallas to confront a hard truth: their hopes rise and fall with Luka Doncic's health. The reactions have been pouring in since the news broke. Teammates have expressed concern but also confidence in Luka's toughness. Fans in Slovenia are rallying behind him, with messages of support flooding social media, while Mavericks fans are openly pleading for Luka to sit out and rest. Analysts on TV shows and podcasts are dissecting every angle, from the medical implications to the business side, because let's be real, Luka Doncic is one of the biggest faces of the NBA, and his absence has ripple effects that stretch far beyond the court. Even sponsorships, international broadcasts, and ticket sales are influenced by whether Luka is playing. That's how big this is. What happens next? Well, much depends on the recovery plan. If the injury is minor, Luka could be back in action within weeks, albeit with limited minutes. If it's more serious, we could be looking at extended rest, specialized treatment, and even missing significant games. The Mavericks may push for the latter to ensure Luka is fully healthy for the NBA grind. But Luka's passion for competition means he'll push back. He wants to play, period. This tug-of-war between caution and competitiveness will define the next chapter of the story. At the end of the day, here's what we know for sure: Luka Doncic's injury update is one of the most important stories in basketball right now. It's not just about one player sitting out a game, it's about the future of a national team, the trajectory of an NBA franchise, and the health of one of the most gifted athletes of our generation. Luka has always been the kind of player who puts everything on his shoulders, but this time, he may need to let go and take the time to heal. Whether you're a Slovenia supporter, a Mavericks diehard, or just a fan of great basketball, this story matters to you, because Luka Doncic makes the game better every time he's on the court. So now, I want to turn it over to you. Do you think Luka should keep playing for Slovenia despite the risks, or should he shut it down and focus entirely on getting healthy for the Mavericks season? How worried are you about this injury update, and do you believe Luka's body can handle the non-stop grind of international and NBA basketball year after year? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm going to be reading through all of them because this is a debate that deserves every perspective. And if you want to stay updated on Luka's recovery and every major development in the basketball world, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a breaking story. Luka Doncic's health could reshape the future of the sport, and we'll be here to cover every twist and turn along the way.